Welcome to the Secrets Women Keep podcast. I am your secret keeper and confidant, Lauren White. I'm a qualified counsellor and sexologist, madam of a secret society, author of Permission, and a witty, highly intuitive lounge room dancing introvert. I help you as an exceptional woman in entrepreneurship to see, love, and trust all the parts of yourself, especially the unseen. Let's pull back the curtain, light the candelabra, and remove the mask. These are the secrets women keep. Hello, and welcome to the Secrets Women Keep podcast. I'm your host and confidant, Lauren White, and today we have a very special guest and a friend of mine. Her name is Alyssa Martin. Alyssa is a highly successful conversion copywriter that helps to pull the messages out of your head so you can put them on paper and share them with the world. If you're an entrepreneur, working with Alyssa will help you to find the words to make your work more meaningful, memorable, and profitable. She loves working with coaches, consultants, and freelancers because the words you use in your marketing are directly linked to the quality of clients that come through your doors. And trust me when I say everything with Alyssa is about quality. She's a straight shooter, a fellow INFJ. She has some serious Aries fire to her and is one of the only people I know that can say, I do whatever the fuck I want with conviction. And you believe her. The reason I've asked Alyssa on the podcast today is she's discovered in the last 9 months that she has an incredible gift for reading and clearing energy. I've been on the receiving end of her work and it is absolutely phenomenal. Here to talk the secrets women keep in their energy systems is Alyssa Martin. Alyssa, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Lauren. I really liked that intro. I do whatever the fuck I want. That, I guess, is the Aries conviction. The Aries fire.
Totally. And it just gets, from what I witnessed in you and working with you for the last 4 years, it just gets stronger and stronger. And it's like, yeah, you are there in a world where people say, I give 0 fucks. And it's like, do you really? You look like a good girl that's saying that they give 0 fucks. Like, is that in alignment? I actually, when you say that, it's like, it's like, that after effect, it's like you get blown away, like a special effect. Just stand back and like, I'm still like got wind and dust in my mouth. Yes.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Now, Alyssa, in the Secrets Women Keep podcast, we go deep pretty quick. There's no point in small talk because, especially as an INFJ, I don't like it. I'm pretty sure you don't either. You're a cut to the chase kind of woman. Now, I define the bathroom stall moment as one in which you are trying to hold it all together as everything feels like it's falling apart. You want to be seen and simultaneously invisible. Have you ever had a bathroom stall moment in your life? And if so, feel free to substitute with the car or the stairwell or the office stall. Anywhere a bathroom stall moment can happen.
To be honest, I feel like up until about 8-9 years ago, my entire life was that energy of a bathroom stall moment where I was like, I don't want anyone to see me because I don't feel good enough. But why won't anyone see me? Why aren't I getting promoted? What the hell? What the fuck? Oh, am I allowed to swear? Okay. Yeah, I was just like living in fear and the energy of not good enough all the time. So that what you describe as a bathroom stall moment, I felt that all the time. And I had mad insomnia, which totally makes sense to me now. At the time, I didn't know why. Yeah, living in that energy of like, oh, God, like you're on the top of a roller coaster.
Yeah, perpetually on the top of a roller coaster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So were there tears? There was sobbing. Did all of that go along with it? Like that real, like for you, was there that really visceral outward expression of those feelings inside?
Yes, I was living at my own apartment, so I didn't have anyone to share my space with. So on the outside, I'm sure everyone thought, my life was fine, good even. But on the inside, I would retreat home to my apartment and just wallow and binge eat a lot. And yeah, lots of crying in the shower. I think I was so trapped in that space. I didn't even want to cry outside the shower because then I had to look at myself. There's no mirrors in the shower. It's like a completely private, vulnerable moment. And for some reason, I thought crying in the shower was more acceptable or something. Like maybe I still had it together if I cried in the shower, but if I cried over my breakfast cereal, then I no longer had it together.
Yes. Oh, I feel like the word that's coming through is containment. It's like you were able to contain that expression to something that was acceptable to you, whereas in the other contexts or in the other expressions of it, you'd have a higher likelihood of self-rejecting or feeling shame about it, whereas the bathroom was the shower, I should say, was like a safe, acceptable place.
Yeah. And now that I know more about energy, I guess, the shower is actually a great place to just cleanse and wash everything away. So it's a metaphor I use quite often with people these days if I'm helping clear their energy. Like imagine yourself in the shower or under a waterfall of light and it's all just washing away. That's kind of what I was hoping and praying for, doing it in the shower. Like maybe if I cry here, it'll all just wash down the drain. When I get out, it'll all be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the energy, now that I'm on the topic of energy, that it was like I was, that feeling where you have to slam on the brakes, like you might just hit the car in front of you and your whole body goes, it's like I lived that whole, your whole body, you inhale, your whole body contracts and all your muscles tighten. It was like I lived my whole life like that. I had hardcore, chronic pain problems in my back as well. Now that I think about it, it's just like I was living so contracted that I didn't know how to release all of that tension. And it's no wonder that I wasn't being seen or heard in the workplace in the way that I wanted, because I was living in that small contracted energetic space instead of moving out around, sending my energy out around like I'm 10 times bigger than I really am. Because when you feel someone that feels great about their life, they're not in that contracted kind of space. They walk into a room and they fill it.
Yeah.
And I was the opposite. I walked into a room and headed straight for the back corner, metaphorically.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely right. And we were talking about this in Secret Society just last night, actually, with one of our meetings, was about the power of when you walk into a room and the difference between you feeling like an imposter and feeling into everyone else's judgment of you, and you walk into the room as though you've got a secret, walking in, and how that can completely change your physiology. And I feel like you're speaking into that right now. The way that you hold yourself and the way that you enter a space says so much about what comes back to you. And it's interesting when we look back onto our 20s or our 30s or wherever we are in life, and we were living in that small contracted state, how incongruent it was that we were like, why isn't anyone listening? Why isn't anyone seeing me? Why am I not accelerating? And how our bodies and our nervous systems were in complete opposition to that actually happening.
Yeah.
The contraction is not conducive to moving into expansion. It's a necessary piece to kind of, we're always going to expand and contract, but perpetual contraction is a totally different thing. And it sounds like you were in that for a number of years.
Yeah. In hindsight, probably all of my 20s. And then I met my now husband, and he got to experience the brunt of it when I was like trying to figure out how to have a relationship and be seen and be vulnerable and be like intimate and open, but still worried that I wasn't worthy. And that worthiness piece is the biggest thing I see with the women that come and do some energy work with me. Everybody has some element of self-worth issues. Everybody just manifests in different ways. Yeah. It's interesting that if you think about the world having a North Pole and a South Pole, or there being a connection between, the center of Earth and the source of the universe, and that being what rotates us around the universe and stuff, there's like, pardon me, poles in life. Same with night and day. The two biggest poles I see in the energy are love and fear. We all operate somewhere on the spectrum of 100% filled in with love or 100% filled in with fear. And, one of them feels great and the other one doesn't. But we have to be kind of ready, willing, and able to step into the feeling of that and not just try and think our way out of it. Because that think energy just feels like you're wading through mud.
Yeah. I'll be the first to admit that I have lived so much in that energy, even though I know, and listen to the words I'm using, even though I know that operating from the heart, operating from the sacral is just so different in texture and feel and pleasure and joy. It's as though being in that head energy can create a sense of dependency, like almost like a nut that you can't crack. Like, I'm sure if I just stay in this energy, I'm going to crack it. I'm going to crack the nut. You never crack the nut. You never crack it. Your ideas don't come through. Your creativity doesn't come through. I'll move into ownership. My ideas don't come through. My creativity doesn't come through. People can't feel me when I'm perpetually in that energy. And that's been one of the biggest turnarounds for me is dropping more into that heart space and into that pure creativity and out of that comparisonitis and out of that this is how things should look, which is what the head loves to feed off. It's like absolute fodder for the brain. Is like, this is the way it should look. This is how it should go. It didn't go this way, so it's ruined, and all of that absolute kind of thinking. So you are bang on, and the sooner that you learn that, you really learn that, not learn it, but feel it and be it, be that thing, be in that loving energy, your quality of life and all the things that you're looking for, you start to feel. It's like the head just wants all these things, and it wants all these things, but the head never actually gets it because the head can't feel it. That's the weird, isn't it? Like, that's the weird thing. We keep using our head to get to feelings we want to feel. And it's like, no, you've actually got to try and embody the feelings that you want to feel so that you can move towards having the things that you want. It's the other way around.
Yeah. Yes, totally. So one of the, well, you would know this, Lauren, but when we do energy work, together, or I do it with anyone, we use a what would it take statement to try and manifest and call in what we want. So one of the things I really recommend people play with is, what would it take for this to feel good? What would it take for whatever I'm doing to actually feel good right now? What would it take for me to feel good right now? What would it take for me to feel calm if I'm sitting in that bathroom stall moment? What would it take for me to feel calm right now? And there was one time actually where I was at a meeting when I still had a day job. I was at a meeting where they were essentially getting us all to plan for ourselves who was going to get made redundant. It was under the guise of something else, but it was part of a redundancy plan. And I was freaking out because I didn't have any respect for my boss. And I could see, sense and feel that what she was writing was going to make us all, like, in our team, obsolete. I was freaking out. I went to the bathroom and I was like, okay, well, what would make me feel better right now? And I was like, go and sit by the lake. So I literally just left the meeting, walked out, got in my car, went to sit by the lake for the rest of the afternoon and never went back. And I think I probably even turned my phone off because I remember getting home and there being texts being like, are you okay? You just disappeared. But yeah, like, give yourself the freedom to do what would feel good for you. That, like, serving other people and making other people feel good, like, that doesn't help you at all. Especially in a situation like that where the people that I would have been trying to impress if I stayed were the ones about to make me redundant.
Yeah. That's some sage wisdom there. And how different would things be if we operated from a place of, does this make me feel good? We'd probably have a lot more harmony and be able to meet in the middle a lot more if we operated from that place, from most people operating from a place of what would make other people happy, what would look good to other people, what would satisfy how can I get approval from other people? It would speed up our creativity. We'd get the results that we actually want a whole lot sooner, and we'd save ourselves a whole lot of grief and turmoil in these interactions that are just really unpleasant and disappointing and frustrating and don't meet our expectations.
Yeah. And that sitting in that energy or that space where you're like, all right, well, what would make other people happy right now? That's a self-worth thing.
Yeah.
Right? That's that energy block around self-worth where we feel like, our worth comes from making other people happy. I've worked with lots of mothers that feel that way. Like, well, the kids need this and the husband needs this and da-da-da-da. And that they're always last on the ladder. And that's certainly something my mum role modeled for me. I see it all the time. But, there's a reason why if an airplane goes down, you put your own mask on first. Yeah.
So you've worked with a lot of women, particularly women who identify as entrepreneurs. Can you share with us what's one secret of our energy or our energy system that connects all of us together?
The self-worth thing is definitely one. And to explain it in a different way, I think the self-worth thing is the biggest one. Everything seems to at some point be connected to self-worth issues. But the biggest way that I see that manifesting, this is so ironic because you said this about me earlier, but it being safe, right and good for you to do whatever the fuck you want. That, we get these business coaches that tell us that we need to do it this way and their methodology works, but you have to apply every single step. Otherwise, you're not eligible for their guarantee or their return policy or whatever. But really, we're all different. Like, bits and pieces of other people's strategy will work for you, but not necessarily taking like a cut and paste system, blueprint, roadmap or whatever and applying it to your energy, your business, how you like to operate. And there's a lot that comes and the way that manifests in the energy, that feeling of, well, I have to do it this way or I won't be successful, or I have to do it this way or no one will want to buy from me, or I have to do it this way or I'll never make any money. Or I'll have to do it this way or my current clients will be pissed off. The way that manifests is kind of shrinking ourselves to suit other people again, just like we've been talking about. We have been conditioned to believe that we live in an or universe where you can be happy or rich. You can be an excellent mother or $1 million business owner. You can be in a loving relationship, or you can be completely filled in and happy and in love with yourself. But what would it take? Again, what would it take for us to live in an and universe where you can choose to be both an excellent mother and $1 million business owner, for you to show up as your real self and make tons of money, for you to be 100% filled in with yourself and other people see it, sense it, feel it, love that about you, admire that about you. It's everything. Like, the biggest things that I see from entrepreneurs is something that has resulted from beliefs about the or universe instead of the and universe.
Yeah, needing to choose, having to choose.
Yeah. And again, that comes back to self-worth, that, can I really have this? Do I really deserve this? Will the universe provide this for me if I aim for this, if I ask for this, if I want this? Am I just setting myself up for failure if I aim for this, if I want this? Yeah. Maybe this isn't something I should say out loud because I'm just going to look like a failure if I don't achieve it. All sorts of stuff along those lines.
Yeah. Yeah. And subscribing to the theory of the and universe is really liberating. And what I've found is that the more I subscribe to the and, the more I can do all those things I want to do, and each one complements the next. Since I've given myself the big green light to have an incredible business, be a present mother, move my body in the ways that feel good for me, have the connections that really fill me up, have the space for myself, the and, each one fills each other up. I hope that's making sense to people. It's like, if I just subscribe to, I could only be a good mother and otherwise, and not a good entrepreneur, because like that will be sabotaged because I need to have all of my presence in motherhood. Well, then I'm not really a good mother, because then I'm denying myself the passions and the fire that I really need to balance out my life and balance out my creativity. So I really want women to know that they don't have to choose between those, like all of those things, that you can actually have them all in smaller doses, and you're probably going to feel really filled up, and each one's going to have a domino effect into the other. When you work out, it makes you feel happier, and then you're more present with your children and less irritable, and you're feeling more solid in your identity. And then when you step into your work persona or step into your work hours, then you're more focused because you're not carrying the energy that's left over from all of this restlessness in your body, and so on and so forth. It's just incredibly liberating.
Yeah, definitely. And expansive. So if we go back to that concept of having your energy contracted or expanded so that it fills the whole room, the way, rich, successful, abundant people do, it's way more expansive. It's a step into a new energy where you're living and showing up in the world. It's your like full expanded self.
Yeah.
But I sense that there would be plenty of people listening to this that are thinking, yeah, that's all well and good for them, but limiting belief. My partner's away, or I'm single, I have no support, or I'm a single mother and I have more to juggle than you, or whatever. All of those are valid. And the way to shift your mindset or shift your energy, it's not just mindset, it shifts your whole energy, is actually, I want to compare this to mantras, affirmations. You know, we've, especially in the entrepreneurial space, probably all heard the mantras that are, I am whatever it is you want. I am wealthy. I am successful. I am an incredibly present mother. I am whatever it is you want. And that kind of contracts the energy. The way I see it, when people say that, it's almost like the logical brain kicks in and it's like, yeah, but am I really? You know, I am rich. Yeah, no, I'm not. And it doesn't matter how rich you are, because by your definition, you're rarely rich enough, quote unquote. So instead of saying, you know, I am a successful entrepreneur and a super present mother, that shuts the energy down when your brain goes, am I really? So the way to flip it on its head is to make a what would it take statement. So what would it take for me to be a super successful entrepreneur and a wonderfully present mother? And it shifts you into the energy of possibility. So you're looking then, trying to see, sense, and feel ways that you can be both of those things. You're out there searching the universe, searching the world for solutions, instead of just being like, no, I'm not, this is stupid. Completely changes the energy, and it changes the way you show up as someone wanting to achieve that thing.
And what I love about that question, well, first of all, I'm a big fan of questions over affirmations and in all forms of embodiment practice, because they feel a lot more gentle and inviting, and less likely to have criticism come up than a really firm kind of concrete affirmation. What I love about the question that Alyssa's proposing that we ask ourselves is that it doesn't just inform us what we need to do, but it informs us what we need to eliminate and what we need to subtract, right? So what would it take for me to be an incredibly successful entrepreneur? It's not necessarily going to be adding more things to a list. In fact, I would say that you'd need to look at what you don't need to do anymore. Just using that example, feel free to substitute it with whatever feels good for you, but to subtract first and then add the things that you can do, or to play around with that a little bit. Energy expansion isn't just adding.
Yes. And it can be something super simple like, look, I could get a cleaner and then I don't have to wake up in the mornings and think, I've got to do all this stuff before I sit down to my real work, my profitable work, my meaningful work. Yeah. Yeah, so true.
Yeah. So something I wanted to ask you, since you've learnt how to clear energy, is where do you think women keep secrets in their energy system?
It's different for everyone. But one of the most common places I see, if I look at someone's energy, there's almost always like a bunch of stuff behind the back. Like, it's kind of the energetic equivalent of just sweeping things under the rug. Like, I'm going to just put this back here where I can't see it, don't have to deal with it right now. I'll deal with it later. It's kind of where we put stuff when we want to deal with it later. And then it's like this invisible backpack of burdens and fears and false beliefs and stuff that we have in there. And it gets like they're showing me right now like a backpack full of stones. So it's really heavy and burdensome, but we kind of just get used to it. Like, forget that it's even there. That's a really common one. It's also really common for people to either be ungrounded or too grounded. So if you're ungrounded, it feels like you're just kind of free to float around in the universe or whatever, like your energy sits quite high. If you're too grounded, your energy sits really low and it's hard for you to connect up to like wisdom in the universe, to truth, to guidance and messages and signs and all of that sort of stuff. Those would be the three big ones. There tends to be, there tends to be a lot also in the stomach, whether that's solar plexus or sacral.
Yeah.
Because that's where a lot of unworthiness sits. But the unworthiness is then all like linked to either being too grounded or not grounded enough. Those two tend to come hand in hand.
Yes. Yeah. And for anyone listening, if you're not sure what too grounded means, my best interpretation, Alyssa can correct me if I haven't got it right, but when you're too grounded, you end up being stuck. You're so weighted down in what you consider to be your reality that you don't move. We need that. We want to be grounded and we want to be rooted, but we still want some movement and some flow. And it's as though there's concrete within your feet and you're just not budging. And that's not a desirable state to stay in.
Yeah. And if you think about the natural order of the world, everything flows, everything moves, water moves and flows, air moves and flows. Like, to be stuck in concrete is not, it doesn't feel good. It's not where you're destined, where your energy is meant to be, where you're destined to go. So there's, totally ways to shift that.
Yeah. Just speaking of the body and secrets, something that came through, and this is purely intuitive, there's no peer-reviewed research to back up what I'm about to say, but when I developed the secret releasing technique last year, it landed in that the coccyx is a part of the body where secrets are kept. And I don't know why, but it feels like this, to me, it feels like this energetically potent, forgotten about, very, very forgotten and neglected part of the body. Like who really massages their coccyx or pays attention to it, or and it's almost it's almost representative of the fact that, did we have a tail? Did we used to have something more there? And something I've since learnt about the coccyx, and my acupuncturist told me this, is when I shared with him, I think secrets live in the coccyx. And he goes, for sure, mate, for sure. Like, he's just like, for sure. Like, he's just one of those people that's a universe of knowledge. But he ended up sharing with me that when you cremate a body, the coccyx doesn't burn. They actually that the rest of the body will turn to ash, but they'll always be left with a coccyx. And I found that absolutely fascinating. And I wondered, I just wanted to put that out there to the audience. It's a bit of like, this is all my own interpretation of things, but I wondered if we pay more attention to that real representation of the root. I mean, it's so close to our anus and it's so close to our pelvic floor. If we pay more attention to that and what it holds and what it has to share with us, whether we can then go on to feel more grounded and feel more in tune with nature than feeling completely untethered or completely stuck in concrete.
That doesn't surprise me, actually. So the root chakra, right, sits right at the bottom of your spine, so coccyx, and that's kind of, your root chakra has to be really open to manifest things into reality, like for it to be grounded in the real world and on earth and all of that jazz. But also that feeling of stuckness, like that feet in cement, that I can't possibly see a way out of this energy, that is, I can totally see that that's linked to, it is definitely linked to the root chakra and therefore the coccyx, because we get kind of trapped in our belief about, well, this is just my reality and there's no way out. So, and then that can bring up all sorts of thoughts, feelings, beliefs, stuff like that around, well, if this is just the way things are, if this is just the way it is, then, you know, what's the point in complaining? What's the point in trying to do something different? You know, there's no point even speaking this dream out loud because it's never going to happen for me. So all of that stuff that we really want but think we can't have then gets trapped in the root chakra. And that's what I mean about being too grounded, like it's stuckness, like wading through mud would be a luxury to you if you have your feet stuck in concrete. Yeah, so it totally makes sense to me that you would feel that secrets are stored in the coccyx, because the root chakra has a lot to do with how we perceive, how we feel and experience the real world. Yeah.
And it still like ties in with what you were saying about the other aspects of the body that hold on to secrets, because it depends on the offense that has taken place or the betrayal or the rejection and where that and what energy center really, really felt that the most. So, yeah, I think there's nuances and there's individuality in all of that. I just wonder if in some ways everything that occurs is filtered down to that space down deep. It's like that, almost like the deepest part of ourselves. Just something I have wondered about. And what I'm also wondering about is, what is the cost? What do you think is the cost of what women keep locked in their energy system?
Debilitating is the word that they just showed me. It's like I can feel it in my energy just at the thought of keeping stuff locked. I don't know if anyone listening has ever done something like CrossFit, I think is the image that my guides are showing me. But the thing I hear from people that do stuff like CrossFit and ultra marathons and stuff like that is like, wow, I did it. Look, I did something I didn't think I could do. Man, I thought that was going to be way too hard or impossible or whatever. It almost, letting go of that secret is that same kind of liberating. Like, oh, look, I did it and I didn't die. Oh, look, I ran that ultra marathon and I didn't die. Look at how powerful I am. And so the opposite, not releasing that, keeping it all locked in your body, is debilitating. It contributes to that sense of stuckness. I don't know how to move through this. That BS around this is just the way it is. I just need to put up with it, tolerate it, So we could probably do an exercise now if you're open to it, so people
love
can.
To.
Okay. This will help you, instead of us like waxing lyrical about what it is and what we think it is, let's give you a way to feel it, see, sense, feel it, know it in your own body and what that feels like for you. So you can do this, it'll be a visualization. You can do it with your eyes open or closed, so you can do it if you're driving even. And okay, so I want you to kind of picture there are two doors in front of you, two options, two paths for you to go down. You can take the path on the left with the blue door, say, or you can take the path on the right with the green door. And just see, sense, or feel yourself choosing to go down the path on the left towards the blue door right now. And behind it is a version of yourself from years ago. It's the version of yourself 10 years ago that has a lot of secrets that you're holding on to, a lot of questioning about whether or not you're really worthy, whether you can have the things that you really want, the partner that you really want, the family that you really want, the business that you really want, the money that you really want, the home that you really want. the body that you really want, the epic love that you really want in your relationship, and notice what her body looks like, her energy field looks like. Notice how small or big she is, how tall or short she is. Notice how much space she takes up in this room. And if you'd like to feel that energy into your own body right now, imagine yourself being her again in this moment. And pay attention to whether it feels good and freeing and expansive and light. If it feels kind of heavy and stuck and burdensome and contracted. And when you're ready, you can release that, step out of her and back into yourself, and walk away and close the door and come back into where you were standing in front of the two doors. You might want to just shake that off. Cleanse yourself with some love and light and pure source energy and truth. And then decide that you're going to walk down the path on the right and take the green door. And as you open the green door, you might see, sense, feel, or just know that this version of yourself is from 10 years, 20 years, 30 years into the future. It's a version of yourself where you have achieved, manifested, seen your dreams come to fruition. And notice how big or small she is now. Notice how much bigger she is than the version of yourself behind the blue door. And notice how there's so much more kind of flow and freedom and ease of movement and speech and expression in this version of yourself. So her physical body is not just bigger and stronger. There's more freedom and ease in her entire energy and how she shows up in the world and moves about in her life, in her business and her family. Now you might want to get to know what that feels like in your own body so you can move towards that. So step into her now, like she is you and you are her. And notice how much taller and lighter you feel, how much more flow there is into your movement and your energy. It's almost like your thoughts and your feelings flow through your body more easily and they flow out of you and into the world with clarity, confidence, and conviction. Notice how much better it feels than the version of yourself from 10 years ago that had all these secrets and was contracted and playing small, that the expansive, liberated, unfiltered, fully expressed version of yourself feels amazing. Okay. And step back into yourself now. Open your eyes if your eyes were closed.
Needed a bit of a prompt there. Just marinating in.
Yeah. You can literally feel the difference between the version of yourself that is contracted and
totally
and like burdened with secrets and the version of yourself that's like, fuck this shit.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be myself.
Not your everyday meditation. Fuck this shit. That's my style of meditation. Thank you, Alyssa. That was so gorgeous. I love there's so much power in being able to feel the difference between two different energetic states in one experience. And that's what so many embodiment practice and meditation practices are missing, is that sense of putting things side by side so that you can feel the shift. And you're more, and for me, it incentivizes me to act on possibility. Whereas if I've got if it's all just visualizing the future, but no baseline, I guess, to reference from, it feels a bit untethered.
Yeah.
to me. So thank you for that. That's beautiful.
Well, we all have different energies, right? Visualizing the future, there'll be some people that are, in the energy world, we would call that clairvoyant, so that the visualizing really works for them. And there's some people that would just feel into it. There are some people that just have the knowing. So there's, getting to know yourself and your own energy in that way, trying different things on. Like, okay, there are 2 things I want to try on, and you can picture the 2 doors. There's a blue door and a green door, or a pink door and a yellow door, whatever you want, whatever colour feels good, and try them on. You can literally step into the world, a reality where you have taken X path and close that door and then open the other one, and step into reality where you've taken Y path and see how it feels, or what you see, what you hear, all of that sort of stuff, so you can get to know what works for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you don't know until you experiment and you get curious about it.
Yeah. Getting curious is so powerful, and it feels like an exploration. Like, if you imagine the explorers going around the world, maybe I can choose a less white-centric example. But if you imagine, are your listeners Australian or worldwide?
Worldwide.
Okay. So if you imagine that your people were going to explore a new frontier, and they would go out and just see what's there. It's literally just exploring and seeing what's out there. If you came back and you didn't find anything, you weren't like, oh, damn, didn't find anything. We're like, okay, well, now we know what's over there. Let's go in this other direction now and see what's over there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's exploration is, literally trial and error. I have a theory that if I go over here, if I go beyond those mountains, there might be this amazing, super rich, nourishing, fertile land on the other side. Let's give it a go.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I'm not shy in sharing that your energy clearing is some of the most powerful I've ever received. And yes, I've received a bit of energy clearing in my time. I just knew that once we'd done the individual sessions together and the very powerful group clearing we did in Secret Society, that something old in me wasn't going to run the show anymore. How much of a role do you think receptivity of the participant plays in how well all of this works to shift people's habits and subconscious patterns and experiences that have happened in previous lifetimes?
Absolutely. That's an amazing question. And it's the whole thing. Like, I don't really do anything. The energy clears you. I just do some talking, really. But the energy can't clear you or do anything if you're not open to it. So an example, there's a woman that came to me, Black American lady, African American lady, and the guides, her ancestors, were coming to talk to me a lot about racism and stuff, and she just wasn't really interested, fair enough, in hearing stuff about racism and privilege and all of that sort of stuff from a white lady, and there wasn't really anything I can do. So she, gets to choose, like, am I going to be open to this? Am I not going to be open to this? All I can do is communicate the truth of what your ancestors or my ancestors or whoever are showing me, and then you get to choose whether you want to take it on board. An excellent example actually is my husband, because I'm very capable of clearing his junk, and he just does not want me to see his junk.
There are so many double entendres there, Alyssa. I'm not sure.
Yeah. So sometimes, something I've seen as well in this was a man in particular. So there's a male client that I thought of, and my clearings I do with the video off. which started because I can see things clearer with my eyes closed, so there's nothing for you to be looking at. But what I've learnt about that is from the participant side is if they have their video on, their, I'm going to call them lower selves, the versions of themselves in the past that have all of that fear and false beliefs and stuff that they're holding on to in a bid to keep you safe, those versions of themselves, I can see them like scurrying around, hiding things behind his back in the hopes that I won't see it or clear it or whatever. And it makes it super hard if there's someone trying to stop the clearing, then that's their prerogative. Yeah, we all have full responsibility for our own energy.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. Just good. Yeah. My biggest tip to people is, to anyone listening that might be skeptical about all of this, is that it works and it's effective and it can change your life and it can access aspects of yourself that pure talk therapy alone cannot access. It can help you access parts of yourself that movement alone can't access. Having someone who has a gift to see the unseen is so incredible, and I feel that it works beautifully in conjunction, is very complementary to doing the movement and doing the talk therapy, and there's an absolute place for it. Every time I've seen someone to help me clear my energy, something has shifted, and each time just kind of compounds on the last one. So if you are in that place of being too grounded or too untethered, if you're in one of those two places, energy clearing can really help you to find and reclaim your own sense of equilibrium again.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
totally
incredible. Absolutely incredible. So you took us through a guided exercise just a few moments ago, but I was just wondering if you could share with our listeners what's one way that we can clear our own energy if access to energy clearing and a practitioner is a barrier.
Okay. What would be the best way? Okay, so you can kind of expand your energy out within 4 breaths. So I'll show you how to do it now. Again, you can do it with your eyes open or closed. Just make sure you have no arms, fingers, legs crossed. You want to think of yourself like an electrical current. You want it to just flow from your head out through your feet, like really nice and clearly. So in the first breath, you can inhale, big or as little as you want, but inhale and imagine your energy going up 300 feet above your head. It'll be usually a very familiar place where you go to pray, or if you were to wish really hard, blowing out some birthday candles. So inhale, connect to that. And then as you exhale, bring it back down, bring that light, that space down into your heart. And then the next inhale, we're going to send our energy down through the bottoms of our feet and connect down, down, down through all the layers of the earth into the center of Mother Earth. And then as you exhale, bring it back up into your heart. And then the next one, we're going to expand our energy out 360 degrees around us, like we're creating our own sunshine from those 2 places. Directly from Source, the center of the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, and Mother Earth. Because everything that exists in the world exists between those 2 places. So that was 3 breaths, not 4. You can do it, can expand out with 3 breaths is all it takes. So the main steps are 1, 300 feet above your head, where you go to pray or wish really hard, and then bring that back down into your heart. And then send it down to the center of Mother Earth. And you will get a feeling, you'll see, sense, or feel something down there. When you've hit that spot, you'll just know. And then you can bring it back up to your heart.
Yeah.
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 You abundant people, whether that's having an abundant, rich, fulfilling family life or an abundant, rich, fulfilling business or whatever, abundant, rich, fulfilling sex life, their energy is not just in their body. They're, as we talked about earlier, the ones that fill the room. So that's why we expand it out around us.
Yes. Yeah.
And the sun is what keeps everything alive, if you really think about it, on Earth. So it's what your energy is, what, when you're creating your own sunshine, it's what keeps your dreams alive, helps you move into them, make them a reality, keeps your energy centered on your own truths, and all the shoulds and other people's opinions and stuff live outside that space.
Yes. Yes. Lots of yeses. So we've talked a lot today about what women grapple with and what they conceal and why. What are 3 things that you want women struggling with being their fullest selves to know?
That you can decide whenever you're ready to step into your fully expressed, fully authentic, 100% you self. And so number 1 is you can decide. Number 2 is that you don't have to do it all at once. It's not just like you are, standing where you are now and then one day you're standing, 5 kilometres down the road because you just leapt this whole hurdle full of progress or whatever. So number 3 would be the way to get from where you are now to that fully expressed version of yourself is to get curious and ask good questions. Like, okay, so what would it take for me to feel fully expressed in this moment? And then maybe the answer you see, sense, feel, hear, whatever is, okay, maybe I need to dance. And you just put on your favorite song and you dance it out like Lauren would do.
I may be sitting here with a big goofy smile like, yes, I like this answer.
Or maybe your fully expressed self just needs to go take a bath right now and have some alone time to connect in to your own self outside of everything that exists outside the bath. But getting up, getting curious and asking what would it take for me to be my most expressed self right now gives you the power to make those decisions moment to moment instead of feeling like it's an all or nothing thing.
Yeah.
So that you get a snowball effect. You choose to step into your fully expressed self 10 times today and then maybe 20 times the next day and 30 times the next day until one day you're just always your fully expressed self. Fully liberated self.
Yes. Yes, they're the words we want to hear. They're the things that we want to feel. And you've broken it down in such a doable, appealing way for women to grasp onto, for something that can feel so far away from them in this very moment. That is some excellent advice there. I love it. And it works. I just want to reiterate that I have done or I do everything Alyssa says. I've always done everything you've ever told me to do. But I want to assure you, copywriting or energy-wise, perpetual teacher's pet, but I want you to know that it works. It really does work. The grounding exercises, the asking yourself the questions, and it's just, you just keep doing it. It's not when I do this, there's like absolute magic is going to happen straight away. The repetition is an incredibly powerful piece of everything that Alyssa's sharing today.
And actually, I feel like I should add one more piece to that about if you hear an answer and you think, oh, well, I can't possibly do that now because blah, 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 blah. The secret to getting your truth instead of the shoulds, the other people's opinions, the judgments and all of that sort of stuff, whether it's self-judgment or other people's judgment. So we did 3 breaths. So first breath up, second breath down, third breath expand out, always connecting back into your heart. But the fourth step is if you find that you're prone to the shoulds and the other people's energies, judgments, thoughts, feelings, beliefs, whatever, is when you're in that central sunshine, great central sunshine you've created for yourself by expanding out 360 degrees, you can imagine those people on the outside of that in their own ball of light, in their own sunshine, so that their energy is separate to yours. And then you can even flick them if you wanted to imagine giving them a flick like a marble, and they just spin out into the universe. And then you could ask your question again, so that you're in your own energy field and not with any of that like stuff that sticks to you. Whether like however it ties to you, it might stick to you or tie to you. That part probably doesn't matter to you. This is what I see.
I felt that when you said stick to you, I was like, ooh, yeah. I could feel that on my body, that when the shoulds take place, there is this stickiness of comparisonitis and or imposter syndrome and feeling into the energy of others and what they're doing. But this is clarifying that so that you're happy for them to be in their own light and power whilst you're in your own light and power.
Yep. Yeah.
That feels very different from feeling kind of stuck, sticky, like chewing gum.
Yeah.
Attached to, the bottom of your shoe, kind of with someone. That doesn't feel clear or clean at all.
Yeah. So that's probably the fourth step for you to try at home if you're someone that feels like the weight of other people's expectations and opinions and judgments on you. Yeah. So, fourth breath, then see all those people that you worry about, their opinions, see them in the distance, in their own ball of energy, in their own sunshine.
That's so empowering. And it's for your highest good and their highest good, that there's that sense of distinction and separation. Alyssa, when as we wrap up the podcast, I ask a few quick shoot questions to all of my guests. So this is just, I ask a question, it's just the first answer that comes to you.
Okay.
So are you ready for that?
Hit me. Go for it. I'll sit up straight and get ready.
Okay. What's your favorite sensation?
Feeling is the first word I just had, like touch. Yeah.
What's your favorite secret place?
Okay, so there's a hill near my house. I've just moved in the last few months, but there's a hill in my house that's full of kangaroos. And at the moment they all have, lots of them have babies and, baby heads sticking out their pouch. And for some reason, I think this is the most amazing spot to walk to, but for some reason there's rarely anyone up there. So I tend to go there and walk up there, meditate, and walk home. It's my favourite secret spot, and I don't know how no one else in my area knows about it. Yeah.
Well, it's made just for you. Made just for you. What's one secret talent you possess?
Oh, the energy stuff, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm just sort of coming out of the spiritual closet.
And boy, are we happy that you are coming out of that spiritual closet so that we can all benefit and we can all be liberated. What's your secret pleasure?
Okay, so the thing that came to mind first up was dark chocolate, but that's not such a secret. Everyone that knows me in real life comes to my house with chocolate. Secret pleasure. I don't have that many secrets, to be honest. Dark chocolate. I'm going to go with dark chocolate.
Yeah. Who's one woman who's really seen you?
Oh, you.
Oh. Speechless. I'm so honoured.
Well, so for those of you listening at home, Lauren and I have both been each other's clients, and we've known each other for, 4, 5, 5 years now.
Yeah.
So when we're clearing and helping each other clear our junk, there's not really any way to be, holding your secrets to yourself. Kind of pointless.
Yeah. One-on-one conversation or mingling through a bustling soiree?
Oh, one-on-one.
Yeah.
No question.
I could have been like, no, I already know the answer to it. Didn't want to be presumptuous.
Yeah.
I thought you never know. Things could have shifted since she started clearing energy and she's suddenly like mingling through bustling soirees.
Deep and meaningful one-on-one conversations.
Yeah. I feel that. I feel you. Thank you so much, Alyssa. Can you please tell our listeners where we can find you?
Okay. A lot is changing, but alyssamartin.com. You might see different versions of the website depending on when you visit it. And on Instagram, what is my Instagram handle? The Alyssa Martin at the moment?
Yeah, the Alyssa Martin. Okay. Yeah, is Thanks, Alyssa's handle on Instagram. So I'd say contact her through the website if you're interested in her energy clearing, but you just haven't gotten to the point of updating that yet. So definitely reach out to her if you'd like to receive some of her medicine. It's incredibly potent and it's all killer, no filler. It's just like the session starts and it's like, boom, you're in. Incredibly powerful. Thank you so much, Alyssa, for sharing about the secrets that we have locked in our energy systems. It's been amazing and enlightening. I have no doubt it's going to be the start of some significant shifts in women listening to this.
Yay.
I hope this episode has contributed to your understanding of your secret self. If you've enjoyed it, please share it on Instagram and tag me in it so more women can feel seen and understood. And if you never want to miss an episode, then subscribe so you're always in on the whispers.